It's the two dudes with the attitudes, let's go. On the Friday, you know what it is, man, they came to handle biz. Two dudes with attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you wanna hear it all, yeah, you in the right place. Going through the highs and lows at a pretty calm pace. This is where they talk to all elite, Dynamite and Rampage. All the other news on your timelines or your page. Shooting star press like it's mad side down. MWO, and yeah, they here to hold it down. Had to kick a rhyme just to tell you about the show. From the TikToks or the shorts, they will bring the smoke. And yeah, it's the dudes like it's Sean and it's Diesel. Live on the Twitch, YouTube for the review. Show them all the love on the platform you using. 5-star rating now, there is no excuses. Welcome back or welcome for the first show. Two dudes with the attitudes, time to work, bro.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes of Wrestling podcast, AEW edition.
That's right. AEW Friday.
AEW Friday. And it is the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. And with me, as always, is the honorary dude, the other twin brother of a man who's not being shown anymore on TV, Orange Cassidy, Mr. Shooting Star Press. What's going on? What's going on with your twins? Are they?
I don't. They must have backstage heat or something. You know, gingers seem to piss people off a lot, so they have no soul. So they like to ruffle feathers. So maybe there's backstage heat on one Sami Zayn and Orange Cassidy. But
yeah, Orange was blowing up, man. I don't know why he was like always on. Now all of a sudden he wasn't on at all this week, right? I didn't miss him.
No, I didn't see him.
All episodes, yeah. So it was an interesting week in AEW. We had once again a back-to-back. I don't know why. Was there a basketball game or something? I have no idea. But we had Rampage basically be the lead into Collision, and a lot of stuff happened. But the problem was it went up against a little event called the Survivor Series. And then we also had a good episode of Dynamite. But with that said, my man, the Dave Meltzer of Two Dudes with Attitudes himself. I don't want to say Dave Meltzer because that guy knows absolutely not. Yeah. Did you, by the way, did you hear his thing when somebody came out and they were like, you said Punk wasn't going to go to WWE. And he said, no, I said it wasn't going to happen, but there's always a possibility. I'm like, that's literally not what journalism is. Journalism isn't. America might attack this country, but they also probably won't.
Yeah, it may not.
Like you don't get to just no. That's not Is he going or is he not? Is it happening or you don't get to and that's Dave. This is why I love Eric Bischoff because he craps on Dave Meltzer nonstop on his 83 Weeks podcast. That's what I want to say. We should start doing a segment because now since CM Punk's in WWE, we're gonna lose our what did CM Punk say this week. We need a what did Dave Meltzer say today, and we can start off every single episode with a Dave Meltzer quote that he has posted that you 100% know is going to be incorrect or stupid.
Yeah,
because Dave Meltzer is the dumbest. And it's so sad because I was watching the Freddie Prinze podcast. I'm promoting all these other podcasts. Don't listen to those, only ours. And they were like, him and Jeff Dye were like praising Dave Meltzer. And I'm like, oh, you guys don't know anything about wrestling if you're praising Dave Meltzer. But about how he knew about things and how he knew Drew McIntyre was just frustrated. It wasn't kayfabe. I'm like, yes, it was. Drew McIntyre, it was an act. All of it was an act. But nonetheless, there was some drama that happened in AEW. And like I said, my man, my media man himself, Mr. Shooting Star Press, let's hear it. Let's get it done with. What did AEW do this week?
There's quite a bit of breaking news coming out of All Elite Wrestling right now. The first one is that MJF, the world champion, has a torn labrum. And I don't know what AEW is going to do because apparently he might be wrestling next week against the Devil and his people with Samoa Joe in that tag team match. But I thought for sure that they would keep him out of the ring until World's End against Samoa Joe. But apparently he has a torn labrum. And, anytime there's a tear that means surgery might be required. So maybe he's found a way. He's going to Aaron Rodgers it and come back sooner rather than later from that whole thing. But I don't know what they're doing there. But that's just something to keep an eye on. Maybe Samoa Joe is the one to dethrone him. And MJF goes and has his surgery right as the bidding war of 2024 begins. And then the other news is that QT Marshall is no longer a part of AEW. And may not sound like that big of a deal, but apparently he was the VP of talent relations. And he was his title was VP of show and creative coordination. And he got that title last year when the company expanded its talent relations team, but he was still like running talent relations. So if he did that, then I'm just going to say this, he did an awful job. See Punk, CM, yeah, Andrade, Sammy Guevara, Jack Perry, and just everything that happened backstage. He did a horrible job there. But the big news there is that he wrote on X or Twitter, whatever people call it these days, is that he's being, as much as I enjoy being a VP and manager of talent relations and wearing a myriad of hats, the company has changed a lot since 2019 and is heading in a different direction. And I feel it's best that I do the same, as we only get one chance to go all in. I've officially resigned from AEW, and I will have fulfilled all obligations by the end of 2023. So he will no longer be wrestling, and he will no longer be backstage with AEW. But according to all the dirt sheets and the rumors, it's because Tony Khan wants to take AEW, the different direction that he wants to go in is that he wants to make it more like New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they have no story and it's just random matches. And that's how they set up their events. That's how they set up their pay-per-views. And QT Marshall wanted to do more story development and things like that. So who knows what they're doing? But then, like, I watch AEW, and you have the Devil, and you have this stuff with Christian and Adam Copeland, and you have Daniel Garcia doing his dance, and you have in addition to these random matches, you still have some more of that sports entertainment stuff. So I don't really know who to believe, but still pretty interesting. If that's the direction Tony Khan wants to take AEW, I do worry that they may be in a little bit of trouble, because I think people in the US want storytelling.
Yeah, well, 100%. And
yeah,
let's go to MJF. I mean, tearing anything. I mean, if he's going to be out, that's going to hurt AEW in the long run, because I can give him time to, if he hasn't, I still believe he's signed an extension. But if he hasn't, that's a nice way out, right? Let me go take a vacay, leave AEW, come back and sign with WWE and make a surprise return if he's truly injured to where he can't wrestle. It'll also hurt because that Samoa Joe match is going to be fire. And I'm assuming he was going to lose the belt to Edge probably one day, or Adam Copeland. Sorry. So that could even mess up the plan. So that would hurt AEW big time. Injuries suck. QC Marshall thing, you can kind of tell, though. AEW started off just being random matches. Then they just recently started kind of doing the storyline thing, but they were getting better. That's when people were liking AEW more. They need to stick to the storyline. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Something in my throat. Storyline, like WWE, where you can do the storylines like they're doing now, but not do it as much as WWE and still focus on your New Japan pro wrestling type of feel you want. But you can tell they are doing that right now, too, because this Continental Tournament, which we'll get into, is really that in a nutshell. It's just random matches put together for the sake of putting random matches together. I mean, Julia Hart defended her title twice this week against two randos. So, I mean, we're back to just kind of stories are irrelevant. So maybe that's where he wants to go, which is kind of weird, because Tony Khan's a fanboy of the Attitude Era. And if there's one thing the Attitude Era was not, was random matches.
Yeah, it was
everything was a story.
Mid-card, on down. Hardcore title matches were not randomly everything.
No, everything was a story. So I don't see why he doesn't. I don't know. But maybe he just wants to be different.
And then the other bit of breaking news before we move on, that I almost completely forgot about. Bryan Danielson, it was on the disciplinary committee that that agreed to fire CM Punk. So he led the AEW committee that made the decision to fire CM Punk, and he was one of three people on this committee. It was AEW General Counsel Chris Peck, Bryan Danielson, and an outside attorney that came together after the events at All In. But then Tony Khan in his statement said that the decision was his and his alone. So I think they presented them as to why CM Punk should be fired with cause, and Tony Khan agreed, and then he made the decision. So I'm not going to go after Bryan Danielson for that. CM Punk's actions were because of CM Punk, and he had multiple chances to straighten up and fly right back there, and it just didn't seem to work. And I think it's going to be it's a blessing in disguise for both AEW and WWE that Punk is over there now, and AEW doesn't have him. But a lot of people have been going at Bryan Danielson on X and social media saying that he's a traitor and he's the reason for AEW's ultimate demise. He firing CM Punk. But again, CM Punk's actions were his actions, and Bryan Danielson he was just the messenger in this whole thing. So it all fell on Tony Khan.
And even if it was his decision or not, it did kind of backfire. But at the same point, it needed to be done. What CM Punk did was not okay. I'm not going to forget it. Just because he had a killer return to WWE does not take away the fact that he was acting like an a-hole and beating people up and starting fights for no reason. So he deserved to be fired. I'm starting to think now, because how quickly he joined WWE, there was all those rumors beforehand that he was doing it on purpose, just trying to get out of there.
That's what I thought he was doing.
I wonder, man. I mean,
I think he got fired
people
on
are pissing him off, and he's just fighting. He comes back. He looks better. He looks more in shape, younger, more ready. Like, his promo was good. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's the news of AEW, man. I feel like we'll always have news with AEW.
And there's some more news, but I'll get into it when I talk Ric Flair, because he's
okay. So you're gonna save that, yeah.
He's
all right,
ruffling
get
some
into that
already. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I guess this shows again, like this Dynamite when MJF was cutting his promo, they like have shots of the crowd. I don't know if it's fake or not. Like I said, I don't know if it's just LA, but at the Forum, I've been to 3 AEW events. I just went to Full Gear. They're all packed. There's no empty seat in the house. So I don't know if they're just hitting random towns that they shouldn't be hitting. I don't know what it is, but I saw these pics that people are posting and putting on TikTok, and it's like empty, man. It's like just the first 10 rows are filled and everything else is empty. It's insane, but
it is really
I don't know if it's real or not, but if that's true, I mean, their ratings are, like I said, this week, all 3 shows combined to do less than Monday Night Raw. So what does that say? Once again, they were never competition to begin with, but they still need to survive. So maybe that's why they're not getting that streaming deal. You know what I mean? Who wants to stream if they're not going to bring in people to stream for? So all right. Although if they add in pay-per-views, bro, I'll pay $10.99. I'll pay $9.99 a month.
Oh yeah, if they put that on,
I'll pay $15 if you give me pay-per-views with it and all their stuff. I mean, whatever, I'll do it. All right, let's get into Rampage. You ready? Saturday, Rampage, Saturday. They should just do this from now on, right? I mean, it's just like 3 hours of TV. It's like a Monday Night Raw. We had a decent Rampage. Like I said, it was a kind of like a filler in for Collision, which it should be. But we had some big moments and some big names coming out here and some young guns, as we'll talk about. And I want to talk about a young gun in the name of Wheeler Yuta. This guy, when he got his butt kicked a year and a half ago or whatever by the BCC, and they joined him in because he got his butt kicked and he bled everywhere. And that was kind of the beginning of the BCC We Bleed campaign that they are now, where Mox has to bleed more than never mind. But he bleeds a lot. And we had Wheeler Yuta today, or on Rampage, fight and want his ROH Pure title back. I never truly knew what the ROH Pure title was. I didn't know it had all its own rules, and unless that's all ROH matches, I don't know. I know they all have to shake hands and stuff like that, but there was like all sorts of rules. And then when the limit ends, it goes to a decision, and there was 3 random dudes up there ready to like make the decision on who wins the wrestling match, which was whatever. They're trying to make it like MMA, but neither way, it was a good match. And the right man won. I like Wheeler Yuta here winning the belt. I think the BCC now is kind of doing their own thing. They're not as like much of a group anymore. I know they help each other out, but they're not like always like as a faction roll in. So Wheeler Yuta cannot be left behind. In a day where CM Punks and people have been leaving, and who knows if MJF and Ricky Starks are going. He needs to build these younger talents. Wheeler Yuta is one of those guys, on top of someone you're going to talk about in a few. And I thought this was a good moment for him. Let him have a title. That it doesn't matter that Tony Khan loves titles. So obviously he wants everyone to have a title. So let him have a title. Let him push that, build himself up. And he's a killer, man. Even with his like his beard that he's grown now. He kind of took away the fact that you can tell he's like a nerd in high school and had no friends and played Dungeons and Dragons in his basement. But now he's like a killer, man. He looks BA. He's not afraid of anybody. He gets his butt kicked by his homies and backstage promos all the time. He's getting built to be a man. And now he's the ROH Pure champion. I dig it, man. I like it. And I think Wheeler Yuta does have a bright future as long as they continue. He's getting better on the mic, too. I mean, he's not perfect, but he's getting there. It takes time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, I like what they're doing with Wheeler Yuta. The only thing is I wish this was an AEW title that he would have won instead of a ROH championship, because they, like as we saw with Samoa Joe, they hardly ever defend those titles. And I didn't even know that the Shibata had the ROH Pure championship. I didn't even know. I thought Wheeler Yuta still held it. I was surprised that when he won it, I was like, oh, I thought he was already the champion. That's just because I feel like we don't watch Ring of Honor regularly. So maybe I don't know if we should or not with Ronda Rousey coming there, but I like what they're doing with Wheeler Yuta. I like that they're building younger talent because they need to develop some younger stars. And it kind of leads into what I want to say is I want to talk about the emergence of Hook all over Rampage. He opened Rampage with the match against Rocky Romero, and I thought that was a solid opener. It was a cool match. I don't like Hook struggling against people like this. I mean, this match went picture in picture and everything, but Hook has been, beating everybody within like 3 minutes. But at the same time, I don't mind it so much because we get more of an opportunity to see what he can do in the ring and see his moveset and see him really develop as a wrestler. But Hook won the match by submission, and he looked dominant in doing so. And then at the end of the Wheeler Yuta match, he came out and he tried to make the save from when Wheeler Yuta was attacking Shibata, and Hook picked him up and raised his hand, and looked like they're going to set up a little program now between Hook and Wheeler Yuta. And I think that's what you have to do. I think in order for, you got to keep building your younger stars. And I think AEW has a chance to not build just one in Wheeler Yuta, but build two with Hook. I feel like they've kind of dropped the ball a little bit on Hook. And I think this is a way to kind of rebound from that and actually have him taken a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, I agree. Hook's a star. We've talked about it nonstop on the show. I was confused. It was a non-title match. I mean, he already has a fake title. Every one of his matches should be for that fake title. But nonetheless, it did what it needed to do, and Hook and him are stars. I mean, if Ricky Starks sticks around, Ricky Starks is a star. And there's someone on Collision that I think is going to be a star. So let's get into it. Let's get into Collision. Let's get into it. And Collision followed right through. We saw Wheeler Yuta appear at the opening hour after his boy Claudio won a match. So I like when AEW does that as well, kind of mixes them in. But I want to talk about a moment. And I think in everybody's wrestling career, when they become a star, they always have that one moment. You know what I mean? You have Stone Cold at the King of the Ring, and you have Stone Cold and Brett with, Stone Cold bleeding as Brett had him in the sharpshooter. He refused to give up, amongst others, right? You have Hulk Hogan, I don't know, when he became a heel, doing the leg drop, becoming the third man, and the NW. I mean, you always have those moments. CM Punk's pipe bomb. You always have those moments when this is that moment that you became a star. And I think somebody had that moment on Collision. I know it isn't as big. I know those were epic things. I'm just trying to say it in generalization. But Big Bill, this man has been around for a while. He wrestled as Big Cass, and you can't teach that. Big Cass, right? That was his name?
Yeah, Big Enzo and Cass, yeah.
Enzo and Cass, yeah, right?
SAWFT.
Soft. Yeah. And he was that dude, and he was okay. And then obviously Enzo ruined it for him, and they got kicked out and blah, blah, blah. And now he's over here trying to find his his wills, or as you can say, trying to figure himself out. And he got paired up again with another talker, right? So he was paired up with Enzo forever. I mean, he obviously had a career in between, but he got paired up with Enzo. Now he gets paired up with Ricky Starks. This man doesn't really have a lot of time to talk, right? When you're with two dudes who don't shut up, it's like you, right? I feel so bad for you. You're with me, I don't ever shut up. But you're with these guys who don't shut up. It doesn't give you that much time to speak. And he got a promo time. And his promo was so damn good that Ricky Starks afterwards didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. So Big Bill comes in and cuts this promo about how he's been sick and things were going on in his life and addiction or whatever else he was talking about, and he overcame it. Seizures and this and that. Yeah, and he was struggling and he never thought he can get here again. And here he is. And it was a powerful promo. And then he cut a promo about Chicago Bulls basketball players. Dude is obviously a Bulls fan because he named some people on there that like I knew them, but you gotta like really watch basketball to know
Bill
these
Weddington
90s basketball.
Tony Kukoc and I think he said Ron Harper. I think there was a Ron Harper.
He named everybody. Yeah, everybody who was ever. He said for some reason he could categorize Dennis Rodman, who was a bigger star than those guys. But nonetheless, he named all these dudes, and I thought this was it, man. I was like, Big Bill can cut a promo because it was flawless. It was easy. Even when he left, he had a big smile on his face. Like he knew. He was like, that was it. That was that promo. And afterwards, Ricky Starks came on and he was like, yeah, I don't know basketball, but I think I know all those guys. And I was like, no, if you don't know basketball, you don't know that. And he's like, and they're all stars. I'm like, no, that was the whole point. They're not stars, Ricky Starks. So he even threw Ricky Starks off. Like even he. So in a time where you have Ricky Starks, who's probably a top 3 or 4 promo guy in AEW, you had Big Bill out promo him. That's the future right there. And I think Big Bill is somebody now that they can use. Not a lot of big men can cut promos, right? There was Kevin Nash, there was Kevin Nash. There was,
Undertaker.
Kenny Cup. They weren't promo guys, dude. I mean, this is like you could have a guy who can cut some good promos as a big man. You got something in a bottle, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm overshadowing it, but this stood out to me more than anything in all of the week of wrestling, WWE as well. I was like, dang, Big Bill, man. It like woke me up. I was like, good for you. What a promo. Passion and everything.
Yeah, no, and I'm happy to hear about Big Bill overcoming all of his demons too. Apparently he had, he's gone through alcohol addiction and he's had seizures because of it. A few years ago, he had like a seizure in the backstage or in the middle of a match, I think, and they had to. It was like maybe an ROH show or it was an indie show or something, and he gained a lot of weight, and they had to like take him out, and he went through rehab. So he's cleaned up his act, and I'm happy to see this. And I loved it. And the thing I like too is the backstage fight where they took out Chris Jericho. And he did a lot of the work. Ricky Starks just kind of stood there while Big Bill did a lot of the action, and they like broke Chris Jericho's arm. He was wearing glasses when he did it too, which was a little funny, and the glasses didn't even fall off when he was doing all that. It was good stuff, and I really like what they're doing with both Ricky Starks and Big Bill. But Big Bill, I think they've got something in them, and I think putting him with Ricky Starks was actually a good decision from Tony Khan, and I hope they keep them together. The one thing I don't like is, and maybe this is just how they operate as a tag team, but I don't like when Ricky Starks is like, yeah, we don't really know anything about each other. Big Bill, when's my birthday? I have no idea. Like that tells me that they're not going to last very long as a tag team, and Big Bill's either one of them's going to turn on the other or something. But I actually think these guys are money, and I think they need to keep them together. I'm excited to see what they do. I'm happy to see Big Bill cleaned up his act, and I think he's arrived. I think he is somebody to watch out for. Yeah,
it's a big moment. And after they said that too, Ricky Starks ended his promo by saying something that he knew about him. I forgot. He's like, and if I know Big Bill, he'll like this, or I forgot what happened, but he did something. And I'm like, I thought you didn't know Big Bill.
Yeah.
So do you know him or do you not?
Yeah, it was not a good mic night for Ricky Starks, but it was a great one for Big Bill.
Yeah, I agree.
But I like the way they're using them. I like the way they're booking them, and make Big Bill continue looking strong. That beatdown on Jericho was a good start.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I want to talk about another big man, and that is Keith Lee and Lee Moriarty. They had a match, I guess, on Collision, and it was fine. I have no complaints about the match, but there was like a backstage interview with Keith Lee, and he was basically saying that he's sick and tired of not getting opportunities. He feels like now's his chance to go and take it, and I'm coming for you. And who I'm talking to you. and like the commentary team was like, who is he talking about? Who's he going after? Who's he? So I am curious. Is he like, who do you think he's going after? Is he going after Shane Taylor and those guys? Is he going to be another one of someone coming after MJF? Is he going after like Orange Cassidy and somebody along? Is he going after Swerve? Because we haven't gotten that match yet. Like I'm really, that was something that made me scratch my head during this episode. I was like, who the heck is he talking about? Like, are we finally getting a Keith Lee push in AEW, or is this going to be a big letdown?
Yeah, I mean, Shane Taylor, and then one of the announcers said it. So as soon as one of the announcers said it, I was like, oh, maybe it's not Shane Taylor. But
yeah,
I mean, the only person I could really think of, because we're not going to get another person going after MJF, right? So the only person I could think was Swerve. But here's the thing, right? I'm not a big Keith Lee fan. I dog him all the time. I dogged him in NXT. I know he did fun things. I don't know. I've turned around on Bronson Reed. These meaty men are starting to get me in my feelings, if you know what I mean. So maybe I'll start liking Keith Lee one day, but right now I don't. But here's the thing, right? You can't this is AEW's like MO. You can't cut a promo like that unless we kind of have some kind of like inclination of who he's talking about. You can't just have him say that line. Even the girl was like, Like if everybody's confused, that's that's like when you tell a joke and nobody laughs, so then you explain it and people laugh.
It's funny
you got to explain a joke. That's not funny then. So if you got to explain who you're talking about, then you shouldn't have said that line. So, but I am glad. I mean that they're pushing. I mean, supposedly Keith Lee and Tony Khan like used to date or something. So when he came over to AEW, Keith Lee was supposed to be like the biggest star ever, and then he just kind of stopped pushing him. Because remember, he was pushed to the moon at the start. So it's nice to see him getting pushed now, and at least it seems like it. It's funny. CM Punk leaves, and now all of a sudden they have airtime for everybody. I didn't know CM Punk was taking up that much space, but everybody's back.
Well, he had like Wardlow. He had like creative control on Collision, so maybe he was like, I don't want this guy on. I don't think this is good for this guy. So maybe I don't know, but yeah, I was a little confused about Keith Lee. Like I hope he's not going after MJF. I don't think he is. He's not ready for that. But
no. But I don't
Swerve Strickland makes sense. Yeah, but Shane Taylor seems too obvious. I don't know who it could be. Orange Cassidy?
Swerve needs wins. Yeah. I wouldn't mind him and Orange Cassidy. I think he could do that bump he did with Adam Cole to Orange Cassidy, hit him into like the fourth row. I think that was the only cool thing Keith Lee's ever done, in my opinion. That when he hit Adam Cole and Adam Cole just like disappeared at a shot is one of the coolest NXT things like ever. Yeah. Remember, Keith Lee was the first ever like two-time champion in NXT. Mm-hmm. You don't remember that. He won that. He was a North American champion, and he beat Adam Cole to win the heavyweight champ. He was a two-time champ, and then he has done nothing since then, literally, other than grow gray hair. All right, my other thing I like. We had a new wrestler appear on Collision. We had a first time a man that they call Killswitch. And he came. He kind of looked like Luchasaurus. I don't know, maybe whatever. So you can still gimmicks if you want, but this was the greatest return ever, the greatest appearance ever by a wrestler. Killswitch comes down, has a 1-minute squash, and then he's enjoying his time. And out comes Adam Copeland, dressed as an Aces and Eights member. I don't know if you guys know who Aces and Eights are, but he's definitely, and we'll get into more of that too, because I'm getting the Aces and Eights vibe all over AEW right now. Tony Khan's done with stealing from WWE. He's now into the TNA. And if you don't believe me, let's talk about MJF's promo soon. But anyway, so he comes out looking pretty cool. I like the Aces and Eights look. Like I said, I think I talked about this before, that he's looking ripper. He's like more tan. I like the all black. I was digging what Adam Copeland was looking like, and he put it to Killswitch, who's Luchasaurus, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're not getting my sarcasm. So he concertos him. He kind of like stomps him back into the chair so he can concerto him again. And then he cuts a fire promo basically telling Christian that he's coming for him and his title. December 2nd, I believe, is the next Dynamite. Yeah. Is it the 6th? December 6th?
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Yeah, he's coming for that title in Montreal, Quebec. Mm-hmm. Is it in Montreal? Yeah. Yep. So it's first time. Is this really the first time they've ever been in Montreal?
I think so.
Or the first time Dynamite's been in Montreal.
I think Collision's been there, but
they're hyping it as like the first. I don't know,
but I don't think Dynamite's been there. I know Collision's been to Toronto a few times, but
and we'll get more into that later about this match. But I thought it was awesome. I've been crapping on Edge since he's come over to AEW about how his matches have been meh, his promos have been meh. Edge, just like I said about Randy Orton, they're better as heels, man. And I know he's not the heel, but he's using heel tactics. It's not just him coming out and, hi, everybody, I like Sting, and I'm kissing babies, and I don't want to fight Christian because we're friends. He's actually coming out here and doing his thing and looking vicious and tearing people apart. He just concertoed Nick Wayne in front of his own mama, for crying out loud. Like, now, once again, I am confused because we have talked about this on the show, Shooting Star, about AEW and heels and baby faces that these guys are doing moves that baby faces don't. Like, baby faces don't concerto people. Baby faces don't concerto people in front of their moms. Baby faces don't attack and call, but whatever. We don't have it. Baby faces and heels don't exist anymore. Attitude Era, it was the same type of thing, right? Everybody was just what they want to be. So it is what it is. But I like this moment. This is the Adam Copeland I've been waiting for. And I like the fact, too, that he took out Christian's 2 people, because now he has Christian all to himself. What'd you think?
I think this is,
or nah?
I think this is the best use of Adam Copeland since he's been there. The last 2, even the appearance on Dynamite too, was phenomenal as well.
We'll get there.
So I think this was the best use of Adam Copeland since he joined. This is what I wanted to see. The only thing is I don't like that he's going right after Christian Cage right away. I wish that they would have given him some other people to feud with first and then kind of give us Christian Cage. You know, I don't know. I don't like that they're doing it on a random episode of Dynamite as opposed to, you know, the pay-per-view at the end of the year or Revolution next year. Like, make it feel like a big fight. And, you know,
so can we dive into that on Dynamite? Can you save that?
Yeah.
Can you bottle that up? That's what I want to talk about on Dynamite, because that's more of that. Yeah. And you watch my TikToks. Thank you. But yeah, I want to bottle it. Let's bottle that up.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is the best use of Adam Copeland, and I like it. I like it a lot. So I want to see more of it, and I hope that he kind of continues this little anti-hero and like, don't be the typical baby face of like, I'm so happy to be here and I can't wait to wrestle Uncle Jay. Like, just go in there and kick some ass and don't pander to the crowd. So that's how I feel.
I hate it. I hate the cape. It's so funny because Mick Foley was on a podcast and he was talking about CM Punk and he kept calling him Phil, and he was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be like cool and kayfabe. I just CM Punk. I need to call him CM Punk. I'm like, I hate this whole if you're in the wrestling world, just use stop with the like. That's so dumb. Yeah. Like, oh shoot, he called him Jay, his real name.
That means it's personal.
This segment's real, son. Like, it's scripted. Shut up. Just stick to character. Like, you know, like in Game of Thrones, they weren't all of a sudden like, hey, you know, Mimosa, get over. What's his name?
Jason Momoa.
Hey, Jason, what are you? Oh shoot, you called him by his real name.
Yeah. Dothraki. He called him Dothraki. Yeah. Called him by his real name.
What's up, Aquaman? Yeah. Like, you know, like
Jon Snow's not gonna like that.
Like, it's the same difference. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're fine.
I can't stand that. I can't. You saying Uncle Jay made me laugh because it's so dumb.
It's
so dumb.
Really stupid.
He's always been Christian. Like, just
and like when people think of, when wrestling fans think of Jay, they're thinking of Jay Uso, Jay White, or Jay Lethal. They're not thinking of Christian Cage. So like, you have to like really know who Uncle Jay, who he's referring to, and that like people don't want to do that kind of homework.
Even Jay Leno.
Yeah, Jay
former
Leno
WCW superstar.
Right. I forgot about Jay Leno, Karl Malone, and Jay Leno.
Heck yeah! Woo! Eric Bischoff did big things. All right, keep it going.
So the other thing I want to talk about from Rampage is
Collision.
Sorry, the last thing I want to talk about from Collision is we didn't talk about it last week because we didn't do we did our episode before Thanksgiving, but the Continental Classic Tournament started last week and it continued this week on Collision, and it continued on Rampage as well, and it continued on Dynamite. And I'm really confused. I got to admit, I'm not like, the whole point system is confusing me. The elimination structure is confusing me, because the main event of Collision saw Eddie Kingston versus Brodie King, and Eddie Kingston took a loss, but he's still in the tournament. And I know that it's based on points in this first couple of rounds. And I don't know what they're doing with this tournament. I don't know how I feel. It feels random. Eddie Kingston put his belts on the line. He put his Ring of Honor World Championship on the line. He put his New Japan Strong Championship on the line, as well as this new Continental Championship that Tony Khan's created. So then now you have 3 belts that the winner of the Continental Classic gets, and you have Eddie Kingston, who held both of those belts, take a loss in one of the early rounds of this tournament. It just it makes me feel like maybe they really don't respect Eddie Kingston. They don't really like him. Maybe he's going to be eliminated here soon. I don't know, but I'm like really confused about this whole tournament. Thought the match was great. I like Brodie King. I like it when I like the fact that House of Black is kind of similar to the BCC. They're kind of doing their own thing separately. You got Julia Hart killing it. Malachi Black is cutting promos and name dropping CM Punk, going after FTR, and then you have Brodie King in the Continental Classic. But the whole format is really confusing to me.
Yeah, I agree. And Eddie Kingston, the fact that he gave up both his titles, wink, wink, to make this the Triple Crown champion. When you win with that belt that's hidden,
and then he loses
3 belts, and he's losing the whole time. I don't get it. I mean, there's a lot of names in here too that you're like, they can't take L's, but these guys can. But how are you gonna have what are you gonna do with Mox and Swerve? Like, there's a lot of things going on, which we'll talk about probably in Dynamite too. But I agree with you. I don't mind it. So I coach AYSO soccer, and in our playoffs, that's what we do. You make the playoffs, you get put into like a bracket. There's like 4 teams in it. You face all the teams, whoever has the highest points in each bracket, move on. And then the wild card, whoever has like the most total points. So, I mean, I get the round robin. I sent you that text last night about this being like bound for glory.
Yeah.
So once again, I keep saying, Edge is looking like aces and eights. They're using the bound for glory thing. And we'll get into Dynamite too, where they even make more TNA references. Good for them, though, if they want to steal from TNA. TNA had a good time of their life at one point. Yeah. But nonetheless, I don't get it either. And Eddie Kingston, I'm not a fan, so I don't care that he's losing. But I don't know. I just don't get it. If he's putting up his titles, at least make him fight for it.
Yeah,
unless he's going to lose his couple and then try to maybe he'll win his last few. I mean, you get 5 matches, so you have a chance to win 3 out of 2 or 3 wins, 2 losses, whatever. But we'll see what happens. But whoever wins is going to have that championship, because Tony Khan loves 2 things: money and belts. He loves belts, because Bryan Danielson on Dynamite, which we're about to get into, let's get into Dynamite. He opened up on commentary by talking about how this tournament is the biggest and greatest tournament ever in professional wrestling, because you're going to be the first ever Triple Crown winner. You're going to be an New Japan Pro Wrestling champ of one of their belts. You're going to be a ROH heavyweight champion, and you're going to be the first ever AEW Continental champion. Because the one thing I thought that was missing from AEW, it wasn't storylines, it wasn't that main star, it was belts. We need more damn titles, and we got it.
It's the Christopher Walken more cowbell all over again. The only prescription is more belts.
More belts. And also props, because you brought up Julia Hart. Dude, that girl killed it this week. 2 matches. This girl is. And she not going, I'm telling you, she's the sexiest girl in wrestling right now. But anyway, let's get into Dynamite. And I want to talk about what we ended on, and that's Mr. Adam Copeland and Christian. So Christian comes out, and I like this promo for a lot of reasons. Christian came out with security, hides behind security, tells Adam to come out. And Adam doesn't come out. And I actually dig this. I like this. I hate it so much when, I don't want to say hate, but I dislike it so much when wrestlers call somebody out and that wrestler comes out right away. Like they're like waiting behind the rope, like waiting to get at the curtain, waiting to get out there. I've always thought that was stupid. I like that he called out Adam Copeland a few times and finally told AEW to just run his music. Just cut his music. He'll come out here, cut his music. And then he finally came out. I liked it, because it's not like Adam Copeland's like, hey, it's time for me to come out right now with Christian, so let me wait here next to the curtain. He made him come out. He came out, once again, dressed like aces of eights, but he looks good. I like it. And Christian apologizes. And I think everybody and people who don't even watch wrestling could read into his bullshit. So he says he's sorry. And then he starts bringing up starts off with mom and dad. And you can tell how good of a heel Christian is right now. Number 2 in the biz behind Dirty Dom, that he said mom and dad, and the entire all 50 people in the audience groaned. They were like, oh, yikes. They were like, ugh, because where Christian's going to go when he brings up mommy and daddy.
Oh, yeah.
And then he switched it on them and said, I'm like a brother to you, not a dad. because his dad passed away, and I guess his mother passed away, and Christian obviously knows this, and he went deep, man. He cut him hard. I guess Adam was super close with his mother. So the fact that Adam allowed this just shows the true competitors these two are and businessmen to this company. And Christian is doing his thing, and Adam Copeland's great acting. He's digging it. He's buying into it. He's kind of getting tears going on. He turns around, and Christian goes to hit him with the belt, and Edge turns and kicks him in the balls, knees him in the balls. Either way, hit him in the ding-ding.
Yeah.
And he kneed him, and Christian lays down on him and starts slowly falling down to his crotch, which was weird. And Adam's holding him up like a man, throws him down, and says, "I ain't falling for your stuff." Basically, what does he say? He says,
"Sit up when I'm talking to you." First, of all.
So he did that. Yeah, sit up when I'm talking to you. And then he does the great line where he basically tells him to go F yourself, just like Christian said to him. It was awesome stuff. I thought this was the best promo between both of them, but I had your feelings. So now finish what you were talking about before, because I have the same feelings as you that, like when you finally get that girl you've been wanting forever and then something happens a little prematurely. This is what I think. This is the same thing. We've all been waiting for them too. And I feel like TK is busting that load a little early. Let me know what you think. Now you can,
I fully agree. I think that, I'm excited about this match, and I have no doubt that it's going to be a banger because both of these guys can still go. I just wish it was at a pay-per-view or, make it at Revolution, drag it out a little bit more, make it at World's End, drag it out to the end of the year. That's a good way to end the year with maybe a title change or Christian Cage retains or something along those lines. But having it next week, I get that it's in Canada and you're going to have your two household names from Canada, probably main event the show, and the crowd's going to be all in for it. But I don't know. I just wish this was drawn out a little bit more. It feels very rushed. It felt like Tony Khan was like, okay, we got through the 6-man at Full Gear. Now we got to get Adam Copeland and Christian Cage in the ring 2 weeks after. So let's make it happen. And it's just, let's let it cook a little bit more. And let's have a couple more promo battles. Let's have Christian Cage or Adam Copeland face Nick Wayne or Killswitch next week on Dynamite again. And then have Christian Cage face, somebody else next week, and then eventually, keep having them cost each other their matches or something, and then have them collide. But this just feels way too soon to have this match.
Well, it's 100%. This is a WrestleMania main event, let alone an AEW pay-per-view main event. So I don't. What I'm assuming is that we're going to get some kind of shenanigans because it was brought up that all his people are gone. So maybe Christian's getting a new homie in his crew who's going to save him. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but maybe that's who Keith Lee is. Maybe he was talking about Edge, Adam Copeland. He's coming after him, and then we can kind of get that interference and have them feud and build it up a little bit more. That's what I'm hoping. But still, you want that first. You didn't have Brett and Sean mess around and wrestle each other on Monday Night Raw before we had Survivor Series or Mania. When you have two dudes who are like, they need to wrestle, you don't put them on a house show, even if you're building up to something bigger. So I agree with you.
Yeah. And I'm excited about it. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's got to be some sort of shenanigans or something to drag this out. It doesn't need to end next week.
No.
So
no.
All right, let's get into something that I've been holding in, and that's Ric Flair and Sting. They cut a backstage promo. First, we got Tony Schiavone, and they basically announced that AEW Revolution is coming to my backyard of Greensboro, North Carolina, for Sting's last match. So it's going to be here in North Carolina on March the 3rd. So first of all, I have a couple of problems with that. Number one, can we book a card for your last pay-per-view of the year, All In or World's End, before you start talking about what's happening 3 months from now?
Right.
And then like all over Collision and all over Rampage and Dynamite, I kept seeing the sign for All In 2024 tickets on sale. Like they're like really hyping that up for Wembley. So it feels like do they not care about this pay-per-view at the end of the year? Or I feel like they're trying to do a little too many things at one time right now. And I feel like they're getting a little ahead of themselves. They don't even have a TV deal just yet. Like, I feel like they need to focus on some other things. But then, Sting was talking about how he's excited to have his match, typical Sting promo. And then Ric Flair just started talking and rambling back and forth. I don't even know what he was talking about, but he was just talking about how, you know, they're going to line up I-85 from Charlotte all the way to Greensboro, and you know, the ACC won't know. Like, he was talking about the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, the basketball tournament. It's like, this is the biggest thing that's happened to Greensboro since that, and it hasn't been in Greensboro in years, by the way. But you know, he was just talking about how it's like it's 1989 all over again, and Sting and me and Sting, we went 45 minutes commercial free, and just like it felt very like boomer, you know. And I don't like to talk about I like to respect my elders, but it felt very much like back in my day, we used to walk in the snow, and you guys have to, you know, we walked 45 miles to get to school in the blistering cold snow with flip-flops on, and you guys are closing school because at the threat. Like, that's what it felt like. It felt like this is the way wrestling should be, and this is how it is now. But Ric Flair, the thing I was going to rant about was apparently on Rampage this coming week, he makes some inappropriate comments in a promo. Again, hyping up Sting's last match at Revolution in March. For whatever reason, they're having him do a Rampage in December about it. But tonight's episode of Rampage, they're going to cut this. I think they're going to cut the line. But he invites all women ages 18 to 28 to come to his hotel room and to have a really good time. Woo! And no husbands or boyfriends allowed. That was his one rule.
Yeah.
and like, first of all, like, I know he's probably playing a character, and that's that's his thing, but I don't know. This man, he got canceled from the WWE because of the whole Plane Ride from Hell, Dark Side of the Ring documentary that came out, and they took his woo out of the you know, Tommy Dreamer got suspended for going on there and defending Ric Flair, saying that he's an upstanding person, and you know, nothing has ever been proven true, and just all that. But like, then he goes and makes comments like this, like, you're 74 years old. It's weird. It's creepy. You have a daughter who's wrestling, who's older than that. Like, sure, I think she might be in that age range. It's just, it's weird. It's nasty. And Tony Khan needs to move on from Ric Flair. And it's bad enough that I have to watch a whole episode of Collision with Ric Flair's ugly mug in the back on the stage with the Woo energy drink sign plastered all over it. Like, I don't need to see any more Ric Flair on my screen.
Yeah. No, here's the thing, right? I don't have a lot to say about it. For one, that's hilarious. Good job, the Pat. He has been perving for years. Here's the thing. When I got into divorce, I said the same thing as Ric Flair. So, but no, here's
woo.
No. Yeah, I was like 18 to 28 only, ladies.
Come on.
Here's I'm also only 40, not 106.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't say and I also didn't say no husbands or boyfriends. They can bring them if they want.
Yeah,
but here's the thing, right? I laughed at it, and I'm not laughing at it, and I'm laughing at it just because of how bad it was. It's like when you laugh because you're uncomfortable. That was my laugh, and you rereading that and him saying, like, ending like the 18 to 28. Okay, you're just being the, you know, jet flying, you know, woman stealing, wheeling dealing. You're just still trying to. He has one gimmick, right? Even though he's 1,000 years old and he looks like the Crypt Keeper, he still has that gimmick. But to say afterwards, like, no husbands, and I don't know, you're just like. It is gross, and it's inappropriate, and it's stupid. I don't think the internet should have blown up as bad. I mean, it's not like he's been accused of anything, although he might get the Diddy treatment pretty soon. I have no idea. But his retractment too on it was that he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm allowed to wrestle. I'm just trying to live my life and be fun. And just because I'm old, it's not fair. And if Tony Khan, if you want me out of here, then I'll leave. And it's like,
get him out of there. That's
but now you're acting like a child. So you're saying stupid stuff like you're in like a frat boy, and now you're writing a thing like a child. No one's talking about. People are talking about you being old for wrestling, but you didn't. Your comment wasn't about that. Your comment was about trying to hook up with 18 to 28-year-old married women or women with boyfriends. You specifically said that comment to say you're not even looking like, not even the 18 to 28 single ladies out there, like straight husbands and boyfriends not allowed. Meaning you're looking for people who are already spoken for. Weird stuff. And his promo with Edge or with Sting, I don't understand how you understood any word. I didn't get anything. That's because I'm from here. So, yeah. I watched that entire thing like, Even Sting was like, Sting's face was this the entire time.
Yeah. He looked like Joker Sting, but he wasn't acting.
Yes, he was like, I don't know what to do. This is awful. It was embarrassing. here's like he said, not only has he been perving it forever, like the Patrick said, he's also just he hasn't had it. Let it go, bro. Like, go support your daughter and your brother-in-law who has good, podcasting, and this. Just let it go. Let it go. Like Elsa. Sorry, we ranted on that way too long, but yeah. And get his darn energy drink out of here. I bet it's nasty anyway.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I can't watch. I was watching Collision and I kept seeing the Woo energy drink sign, and I'm like, can you please get rid of that? Like we don't need that all over. It's bad enough to have the video game all over AEW Fight Forever Season 2, but that's temporary. This Woo energy drink thing is probably going to be forever.
Yeah,
forever, as long as he's there.
Forever. Yeah, like true. But let's get into some good stuff. We're both ending with some good things. Woo! So for all you 18 and 28-year-olds out there who are listening to our podcast, meet us in North Carolina for the next pay-per-view. Okay, so we got Swerve Strickland. I want to talk about Swerve Strickland. And we've been talking about Swerve Strickland for a long time on this podcast. Maybe the whole year. And I used to give him grief because he stole the best football team slogan ever, Whose House, Rams House, and he made it his own. But I've been watching this dude wrestle, this dude cut promos, this dude do his thing, and we have both agreed this entire time that he is being underutilized, and why is he not getting a push? He beat Hangman. We thought he was going to get a push. He followed that up with a loss to Bryan Danielson, and we were thinking, what the heck are you doing with this man? Then he got booked to wrestle Hangman again, and we thought, what the heck are you doing? And he put on the match of the year, if not top 3 match of the year, and I was there live, and he won that match. And he follows it up with 2 more wins and won against a Jay White, who is probably the hottest thing in wrestling right now until he lost to MJF. They are finally doing Swerve Strickland right. One of the best promos in AEW. His promos are dark. They're not like a typical wrestling promo. He cuts them with conviction. Everything that dude said, like even when he was talking to the baby in the crib, you felt like, he just knows what the heck he's doing. He looks evil. His teeth and his grill and the way he personifies himself. He's just that dude. 2, sorry, Chris Jericho. He might have the best theme music in all of wrestling today. I mean, when that music hits, if you're telling me right now, if you ain't doing the Swerve Strickland dance, you are insane. I mean, it is just, and the fact that Prince Nana's dancing and don't even care. He's just mean mugging, looks at him, walks by. He don't give 2 nothings about it. He's just his music and he's rapping on it. It's him rapping. It's amazing stuff. And then he has a hell of a match against everybody he wrestles. And the thing with Swerve Strickland is he's one of the few, if not the only wrestler who can wrestle anybody. He can wrestle luchador and do all their moves. He can wrestle a big man like Keith Lee and do a big man wrestling match. And he can wrestle Jay White and wrestle a top 5 in the world wrestling match. He is that guy. Swerve Strickland needs to be the first ever Black AEW world champion, and he needs to be it soon. I'm wanting him to dethrone MJF more than Adam Copeland now. I'm set it there. I'm all in on Swerve Strickland. Let's go. Whose house? I'm going to say it.
Yeah,
Swerve's house, baby.
That's right.
Say it. Swerve's house, baby. Let's go.
I'm all in on Swerve. I like what they're doing with him. I was pleasantly surprised when they booked him to beat Adam Page twice, including in that death match, because I really thought they were going to do a trilogy of matches, and Page would win the Texas death match, and then Swerve would win the series 2-1 in another match. But it seems like he's moved on from that. The only thing I don't like is, again, it comes back to the pairings of this tournament now. Like you've got all these random people who could potentially win it. And Jay White's one of them, but Jay White taking yet another loss, I'm getting a little worried about him because he lost to MJF, and now he lost to Swerve Strickland, and I'm getting a little worried about what's happening. But I love what they're doing with Swerve. I feel like that's one of the few things Tony Khan has been doing right, is just building him organically, letting him get organically over with the crowd. His song is fantastic. I feel like I hear his song at like NBA games and stuff, like in warm-ups. And so like he's getting over that way too. So people are realizing, hey, that's Swerve Strickland. He's a wrestler. What's he? Oh, does he wrestle for WWE? No, he wrestles for AEW. And I think that gets more eyes on the product. And so I think it's a cool thing. He's getting more well-known in the mainstream as well as in the ring, but the man's killing it. And I think he should be the next AEW world champion.
For sure.
So,
all right,
and then
close it out. You know what we're closing out with.
speaking of the world champion, we got a lot of got some momentum going on this Devil storyline. So MJF came out and was hyping his title defense against Samoa Joe at World's End on December the 30th, the next pay-per-view. And in that promo, he name dropped TNA Wrestling, saying that, you know, that there was a lot of people that came out of TNA that were stars that were really good, but the most intimidating of them all was one Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. And he's always had a soft spot for Joe. He's always he respects Joe. He just doesn't like him. And you know, he proved that despite not having that bodybuilder physique, that Samoa Joe has shown that alternatives matter in the world of professional wrestling. And without Joe, there may not be an MJF in this business. So I really liked that he wasn't tearing TNA apart. He was, you know, while he mentioned them, he wasn't saying like, well, they sucked and they're terrible and that's why you're here. And I know they're going like, I was worried he was going to go in that direction, but I like that he took Samoa Joe's past and kind of used that to put him over. I thought that was a cool way to do it. And, you know, MJF also patted himself on the back and saying that he beat top stars, including 2 current WWE guys, Cody Rhodes, and he name dropped CM Punk on TV, and name dropped some other people as well, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley. And so I really like that. I feel like he sold me on this match. Like I have no idea how it could go because he put Samoa Joe over so well that he has a legit chance of winning. And, you know, he also said that he's hurt. And he has his cane and he's got a torn shoulder and messed up knee, but he ended the promo by saying that at World's End it's not going to be the size of the dog in the fight; it's going to be the size of the fight in the dog. And a cool way to end it. And all of a sudden, you heard this guitar riff, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it's CM Punk, because that was the first thing I thought of was like that little, and I was like, they're going to play Cult of Personality, and then the lights go out, and then they come back on and these four people are like holding MJF down and they're beating him up with a baseball bat and they're going after him. And then Samoa Joe comes out and before he can touch him, house clears out. And then like the screen goes dark for what felt like forever. I was like, is my TV messed up? What is happening right now? Like I don't hear anything. It's just a black screen. And then like, it's like maybe 45 seconds in, you get a message on the screen that says something along the lines of, we challenge you and Samoa Joe to a tag team match. Are you still willing to be the hero, Max, or something? It sounded like it was typed on a typewriter. And MJF, the lights came back on. MJF grabbed the mic and said that he's tired of the Scooby-Doo bullshit. He wants to know who these people are. And he accepted, even though Samoa Joe was trying to talk him out of accepting, saying, don't go down that hole. You don't want to do this. I thought it was an interesting way of bringing the Devil storyline back into fruition, and makes me curious. Like, I don't know who the Devil is right now. Like, because I keep thinking it's Adam Cole, but then I was looking at the build of this person. It didn't look like Adam Cole's build. It looked like somebody a little bit taller and a little bit thicker. So I don't know who it could be.
Yeah, better not be Jay White. One of the guys was thick too.
Yeah, and then there's a theory on social media too that it's Wardlow, because the very next match was Wardlow against AR Fox, but his hair was all messed up, like he had just had a mask on. So there's a theory that one of the people is Wardlow.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah,
I liked it. I like this. Once again, TNA was brought up. Also, we are big supporters of Samoa Joe on this show. We always have been. And I mean, I want to see this match. I don't think he's going to beat MJF, but I'm liking everything. I don't mind MJF hyping him to the moon. That's what a champion should do, because you want to build up your competition as credible. So I like that as well. But once again, this is Aces and Eights written all the freak over it. I don't know if y'all know what Aces and Eights is. It's probably the most underrated faction of all time. And it was a bunch of guys who looked just like these guys, who were doing cryptic messages and leaving notes and beating people up. And then finally they unmasked the person who was involved in it all, which was months and months. It seemed like forever later. And it turned out to be Bully Ray. And Bully Ray became the TNA champion for a while. In my opinion, one of the greatest championship runs in all of wrestling. This made me a huge Bully Ray fan, and I am to this day. I think he's so underrated.
Devon was in it too. Yeah.
Well, then it got very NWO.
Yeah.
Mr. Kennedy was all of a sudden like everybody and their mom was in it, and it got washed out. But it started off strong. But this reminded me of EC3 was in it. But this reminded me of it, the way they're looking, the way they're vibing. The black thing threw me off. I almost turned. I was like starting to hit forward, and then all of a sudden typing. It was that long that I thought.
Yeah, I thought something.
Out.
Yeah,
so good on them though. Good on them, though. I like that. I like doing something different. Like, it made me think my feed was out, but it really wasn't. I dug it. I thought it was cool. Good on them and the typing. But like you said, I guess when we get into our segment right now, we can try to see maybe who the devil is. But I don't know. And that's a good thing. If I don't know, that's a good thing. We'll see what happens when they finally. I wonder, once again, if it was supposed to be CM Punk. And he signed with WWE instead. And now they're kind of like, oh, what are we going to do? So now, because all of a sudden now these guys are challenging them to a match. Like, it doesn't make any, like, that was weird to me. But so now it's like, I don't know. And what do you do with that? If they lose, they're pretty much irrelevant. So are MJF and Samoa Joe going to take an L? So I thought that was weird. I don't get the whole let's have a match. I'm assuming it'll be interference. The other guys will come out and beat him up. But when do we find out who the devil is? So that's how long can you drag this out?
I know, because it feels like it's dragging out a little too long. And I'm ready to at least figure out one of the members or something. And don't have to do the whole thing, but
and then how do they utilize it afterwards? So I'm assuming we're going to find out during the Samoa Joe and MJF match, but who knows? All right, AEW, good job this week, AEW. It was a killer week. I thought had good stuff going on, and they brought it. So all right,
despite losing Punk too, I thought it was a good week.
Yeah, and you know what? In a week where they kind of got embarrassed by Punk signing over there and being the biggest thing ever and how much of a reaction he got, they still kept through it, and Dynamite was good. So, all right, y'all, it's our segment time, and it is true or false time. And this is where me and Shooting Star Press will give each other a couple scenarios, and we will state if it's true or false. So if we think it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. As always, we start off with Orange Cassidy's more handsome twin brother, Shooting Star Press. What's up? What do you got for me? Give me the good stuff.
All right, we'll go with something a little more obvious right now, but true or false? Adam Copeland will beat Christian Cage next week on Dynamite to become the new TNT champion.
So funny, I had the same thing for you, but I'm gonna go with false.
False.
I don't think it's time. This has to go into a no DQ somehow, whether it be Luchasaurus. Oh, sorry, Killswitch. By the way, good job on Christian for messing that up and got beat up for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because he called him Luchasaurus and they were like, you effed up. Because he literally named him Killswitch.
And he looked pissed too. He looked pissed.
He's a perfectionist. 100% he was mad at himself. But yeah, so I don't think he wins it here. I don't think he wins it anywhere. I don't think he'll win it in a train. I don't think he'll win it on a plane. I don't think it's happening. I think he's going for the heavyweight title. I still believe that. I think it should be Swerve, but I think they're doing that with Adam Copeland. Maybe he'll get it, but I don't know. I just don't see Christian I'm still going to go false. Go ahead. Okay. I don't want to keep talking. I think it's this can't just be, if he beats him, then what? This is it. This is what we brought Edge over for, to have a match on Dynamite and against Christian and move on with our lives. I just feel like there's more to it. There has to be.
I think it's false for right now, but I think he's ultimately going to win it. And
all right.
And maybe Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne turn on Christian Cage, and that's similar to when the Rock and Hogan fought, and like the NWO turned on Hogan after the match, and then Hogan became the black and yellow again, and that's how they get Christian and Adam back together. I could see something like that.
All right. I got so many good ones. I don't know how many I can do. Okay. Let's see. All right. I'll make it easy. True or false? Adam Cole is not the devil. True or false?
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Somebody else. All right.
He is anymore. I thought he was. Then I thought it was CM Punk. Then when CM Punk signed back with WWE, I immediately went back to thinking it's clearly Adam Cole. It's got to be Adam Cole. But then after this week, I just don't think it is Adam Cole. The guy, like I said earlier, the guy holding the baseball bat, the main guy, had a thicker build than Adam Cole. So I just don't think it's him anymore.
All right. I think the payout, it needs to be Adam Cole, and then I think the rule will be like, that was obvious. Wardlow's a good choice, but like, who else on the roster could it be? It better not be a New Japan wrestler.
Yeah.
They do that all the time where they throw a guy and it's like, but I mean, why not milk it up until December or the beginning of January and have it be Will Ospreay? So
Yeah,
I agree with you though. I'm going to go with True as well. That Adam Cole's not the devil anymore.
There's a part of me that thinks it might be like Mustafa Ali or somebody like that because of
return. Okay.
When he because when they came back, like Tony Schiavone was clear to point out that this is clearly an inside job. Whoever did this had access to our lights and our soundboards and our cameraman, like our cameras. And when he played that hacker character in WWE, the short-lived hacker character, he was kind of doing some of this same stuff. So it makes me think it could be him, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much of it.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be nice, or a Dolph Ziggler, but I would like it to be from the inside out. So kind of like an NWO thing. And that's what I was hoping with CM Punk, and it didn't happen. I thought if CM Punk was going to return his promo, he should have said the same thing. I'm here to destroy WWE. I think it would have been awesome. I think they should have ran with that as well and had CM Punk being like a AEW dude who's coming over to wreck WWE and take their titles and this and that because he's, blah, 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 not part. I would really like to see that happen again. A type of angle like the NWO where somebody comes in and does it. So, all right, what's your other one?
All right, let's do. Okay, Bryan Danielson, the teacher's pet right now in AEW, but Bryan Danielson will win the Continental Classic Tournament and become the Triple Crown champion in AEW.
I'm going to go with false.
False.
And now I can take away my question for you because I was going to say there's only one man that needs to win this tournament. And that is somebody who swerves while he drives, Mr. Swerve Strickland. This tournament is made for him. He needs to win it. He needs it. This is his moment. And imagine the people he will beat to get in through that. So one, he's going to have to beat Mox. He's already beaten Jay White. He's already beaten Jay Lethal. He's going to have to beat Briscoe and Roosh, and then face the winner of the other one, right? Is that how it works? And that's probably going to be Bryan Danielson. So imagine those wins, having a Mox, a Jay White, and a Bryan Danielson under your belt to win a Triple Crown title. I'm going Swerve Strickland all day, every day, baby.
Yeah, I like that. I like that call. I think that's probably the right call to win this thing. My only thing is then he's going to hold a belt, and he's probably going to have to defend the belt, and that means that he's still a step further from MJF and the World Championship.
Yeah,
I think that's where he needs to go. So that's my only hesitation there.
All right. You ready?
Yes, sir.
True or false? MJF signs with the WWE in 2024.
False.
I don't think he is. I don't think. I think he's in AEW for the long haul. I don't think AEW can afford him to go back to or go to WWE.
No.
They lost Cody Rhodes. They lost Jade Cargill. Say what you want about Brian
Punk.
Pillman Jr., but they lost him, and now they've lost CM Punk. And there's rumors that they may lose Ricky Starks. QT Marshall may get scooped up by the WWE. I think Tony Khan needs to lock MJF up for as long as he can. For enough with the 3-year deals, lock him up for the next 10 years just to keep him from going there. But yeah, I don't think he's going. He can't. Tony Khan can't afford it. So I think it would be a huge blow to AEW if he does.
I'm assuming he's already signed an extension. I've been saying this. I think he has, but I do see him going in a couple of years. I think he's going to let this pan out for a little bit because he's the face and he wants to be the face and he wants to build himself up more. I think he wants to be a little bit of a bigger name before he goes to WWE.
Yeah, I can see that
ability and see where AEW goes. And I think AEW is doesn't got a bright future right now. So we'll see what happens, man. So yeah, but I agree with you too. I think it's false. I think he'll stay within during this huge who's going to sign me 2024 moment. So yeah. Yes.
So
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Good week in AEW for sure.
It was. They just need to put some seats in the stands, and Tony Khan needs to stop talking about this all-in event or all-out or whatever it is in Wembley. I mean,
focus
things a year away. They asked him a question about CM Punk, and he's like, I can't answer that question due to laws and blah blah, my lawyers, but make sure that you buy tickets to Wembley and that's what you're worried about, not about like, hey, why don't you come to my event at Dynamite, or how about you come to my event on Collision, or how about you watch this upcoming pay-per-view, or do you know that CM Punk's gone? Sure, but I have MJF and I have Ricky Starks and I have Adam Copeland, and like he's just literally focused on beating records, and I do air quotes for a reason because he's not beating records. That's all he cares about, and it's pretty pathetic in my opinion. Yeah, Tony Khan is the Dana White of they need to get rid of him. They just need to let him go or get him off my screen. So, yep.
No, I agree completely. Focus on what's in front of you, not what's a year away.
Thank you. Facts. You're going to sell the seats anyway, right? Or pretend you did. But that's it. That's us. That's this week of AEW and WWE. Next week, we are taking a hiatus due to the man, Shooting Star Press, going to Walt Disney World.
Yep,
I'm going to Disneyland. He won the MVP of the Super Bowl, I guess.
Right.
He's going to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, my other doppelganger, Carson Wentz, Super Bowl champion, by the way. Yeah, we're going to Disney World. I'm not going with Carson Wentz. I don't know why I brought Carson Wentz up, but
because you look like him. But
yeah, we're going to Disney World next week. So happiest place on earth. So. Should be fun.
That's our Disneyland in California.
Most expensive place on earth.
the better of the places. If you don't believe me, you guys should go watch that debate from last night. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the governor of Florida.
Awful.
That was embarrassing. But anyway, as they say, enjoy your trip. Have some fun. We will miss you. I'll still be throwing out content and talking about things and getting it out there. So you can still follow the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO, and everything. But as always, I'm that guy. Keep tuning in. Keep subscribing. Thank you for commenting and checking in with us and getting us to where we're hoping to be one day. And with me, as always, is the man, the legend,
Mr. Shooting Star Press. Go follow us on YouTube. Go subscribe to our Twitch channel. At Two Dudes with Attitudes, and go follow us on TikTok at Two Dudes with Attitudes. We're blowing up there. And go follow us on our social medias, and then hit us up on Apple and Spotify as well. More ratings and reviews. And if you like what you see, leave us a 5-star rating.
Oh, they like what they see. All right, let's do it. Two Dudes, Wolfpack, we out.
Attitudes, let's go.
Whoa.
On the Friday,
Remix.
Man, they came to handle biz, two dudes
There we
with
go.
attitudes, and they came to get it in. If you want to hear it all,